What's going on, everybody? So in today's video, I'm going to be giving a review of Eben Pagan's Get Altitude program, which was a $10,000 cost just to attend this seminar. Now, I actually did not attend in person, so I did not pay the full $10,000. However, I did listen to the full recordings, so I got pretty similar amount of information that I would have got if I was there. And in this video, I'm going to talk about basically 10 different things that I learned from this program. And the funny thing about it is most people think it's absolutely insane to pay $10,000 for a weekend seminar. However, I can guarantee you that the people that attended that seminar, and there was a lot of interaction with the participants and things like that, the people that attended that seminar were not crazy. These were some of the top 1% of people in their various industries. It wasn't a seminar just for real estate investors or just for one type of business. It was really just for entrepreneurs in general. So this is not going to be real estate related. You can apply it to real estate. You can pretty much apply it to any business. And I think you're going to get a lot of value out of this video. Okay, so the first thing I learned from the seminar was when you're coming up with a new concept, whether it's marketing or even a new business for that matter, you should always test, model, and project. A couple examples behind that. I think it was Kurt Schilling, or one of these baseball players that made hundreds of millions of dollars in his career. I think he tried to start some video game company a while back and spent like $50 million buying a building, hiring like hundreds of people, spending all this money on technology when he really had never even tested the concept. And it would have been a lot easier if he had just like you said, tested something small, modeled it, and then projected it out. So if it didn't work on a small scale, probably wouldn't work on a big scale either. And for real estate investing, it's the same way. It's like a direct mail campaign. Okay, if you send out 1,000 letters and you get, let's say, a couple phone calls, you can kind of predict, if you were to scale up your marketing, how many phone calls you would get. So that would be starting small. I mean, you could even start smaller than that, maybe 500 letters, see how many phone calls that gets you, and then scale it up from that. But the main concept was, look, test like 3, 4, or 5 things, see which one of those 3 or 4 or 5 things works, and then scale it up. Don't just blindly start scaling up when you don't have a proven concept there. Okay, the next thing, and if you follow Eben Pagan, you know he's really big on this, it's called moving the free line. So whatever business you're in, whether it's real estate, no matter what business you're in, you want to move the free line with the information that you give out. So you want to try to provide as much free content, valuable free content, stuff that normally people would pay, maybe 20, 30, or even hundreds of dollars for, and then you just want to completely give it away. And this builds a ton of goodwill with your customer base, and it also gives the thought that, look, if you're giving away this much valuable information, the stuff that you actually sell is probably going to be pretty good because you've built up so much goodwill and you're just giving away stuff that might have taken you years to come up with. And something that Eben Pagan did in his business was he created the most valuable free newsletter he could think of. Because some newsletters, believe it or not, people actually charge quite a bit of money. And he created the most valuable free newsletter he could come up with and then just gave it all away. So I think it was like a weekly or maybe even daily newsletter that just was packed full of tons of content, valuable information, and gave it all away to people. And it really built up his subscriber base. Okay, the third thing I learned, and all these tips are kind of, they're not necessarily specific to one thing. They're kind of just all different aspects of business. And this one was kind of funny. He gave a pretty good example. So you need to think of your customers, whether it's you or people that you're working with, like your staff, you need to think of your customers as business friends, not like corporate machines, so to speak. And what I mean by that is sometimes, let's say you call a business and they might ask a question. Instead of answering the phone, like, oh, sorry, we can't do that according to protocol number 42, and we need to do this and that, and almost answering like a robotic type of voice. You need to just treat them as friends, like, oh, hey, how can I help you out? Oh, do you need this done? Okay, let me see. Let me check for you. Let me see what I can do. You almost want to sound as uncorporate-like as possible, because a lot of people, even in small business, they'll try to act like they're in some huge corporation, and it's just not good for anybody. The customer doesn't like it, and it's just not helpful. It's not the most practical way of going about things. And it's funny because I actually remember that this person that I worked with, this girl that I worked with, I think she had come from a really big business background, or just where you have to do like 10 different things to get up the corporate ladder, just to talk to the boss and whatnot. And we were in a small business setting, so anytime I would ask her something, instead of just saying, oh yeah, I can go do that, or oh yeah, here it is right here, it would be this really long monologue of let me check the procedures and let me get back to you on that one. And I don't know, it was like they had to use like really big words, and they tried, it was almost like they tried to make it as complicated as possible, when in reality, you should just be treating it like person to person, not necessarily like you're working for some huge corporation. One of the next things he talked about was that 75% of hires are actually mishires. So when you hire somebody, you have to be very, very sure that they are the right person. There's a good book that he mentioned called Top Grading, where you really, to summarize it in a nutshell, and you should definitely read the book, people are going to be who they've been in the past. So you really need to look into someone's past, see what they've done. Do they like talking about their past? Were they very successful in their past, or did they kind of have bad experiences and blame others and have like a victim mentality? It's so easy to just mishire somebody, that it's something you should really take 2, 3, 4, even 5 interviews on, just to make sure you find the A player, as they like to call it. And to add on to that point, he actually talks about hiring someone just to help them out is one of the worst reasons to hire somebody. Especially if it's like a friend or someone like that. Because number one, there's probably a reason that they haven't been hired. Number two, that's just not a good reason to hire someone. You're in business. If it's a nonprofit and there's just spots open and there's no real accountability, maybe that's a different story. But when you're in the business world, you really have to choose the right person, the right fit, and really qualify your candidates. Okay, and another thing he talks about is keeping track of all your vital stats. So he was talking about having a vital stats dashboard. And this can be used for real estate investing, or like I mentioned, really any business. So an example for real estate investing, a vital stats dashboard, he said you should have the 5 most vital stats and just track those. So that could be like monthly leads, monthly expenses, how much are you spending on your marketing, how many deals do you have under contract, how many real estate videos have you put out, things like that, the 5 most important stats for your business. And this will actually help you become a much better business person or real estate investor or whoever you are. Just visually, just seeing those stats out there, it'll make you want to increase your revenue. Like if you're looking at your monthly revenue, and let's say it's $50,000 a month, and you've been there for 2 or 3 months, you're gonna want to try to increase that and improve that. I can guarantee you, just from being in a competitive, if you're an entrepreneur, you're probably a competitive person, and you're going to want to see that number go up. I've actually used the Vital Stats dashboard recently, and it's very helpful and very easy to do. So there's no real reason not to do it. At least not try it out for a little bit. Okay, one of the next concepts that he talks about is from actually John Carlton, who's a famous copywriter. You should look him up. And he talks about people are just bored. That just people are bored, and you need to understand that with your customers. So he actually mentioned a quote that John Carlton said. He's like, look, your customer wakes up bored, they eat a boring breakfast, they do something boring, at work, they have a boring lunch, they have boring conversations, they come home, they have a boring, workout at the gym, they watch boring TV, pretty much everything is boring. So trying to be, they just don't know anybody exciting, or there's just not that much going on. So in terms of your customer, you just need to be, you need to be interesting, innovative, try new things, be different than everybody else. One of the next things he talked about, and this is something that you can apply to your business, today basically, is taking any advertisements that you have out there. What you should do is you should go to the grocery store, or you could probably look online at this point, but try to find the top 10 headlines, the top 10 attention-grabbing headlines. As bad as it is to say, the tabloids, those have some good headlines sometimes. You don't need to be as extreme as those headlines, but you don't want to just have boring headlines. So if you wanted to revamp your marketing, you could go look at like the top 10 best-selling magazines, or 10, just browse, look at 100 headlines, find the 10 best ones, and then apply those headlines to your business. Modify them to whether it's real estate investing, or if you're a chiropractor, or whatever type of business you are, you can apply those and give your marketing a little boost. All right, tip number 8 is he talks about you should have focus or study not study sessions, but focus sessions of 60 or 90 minute chunks where you're just completely uninterrupted. And you should really start your day with one of these uninterrupted sessions, because if you start your day with just 60 minutes pure focus. You'd be shocked at how much you can get done, and it's just good. It's a good way to build momentum for your day, because even if you don't do anything else the rest of the day, just the fact that you knocked out those 60 minutes or 90 minutes, you are going to just feel so much more productive throughout the day. I can guarantee you. And I've actually been doing that for a while now. I try to work in 60-minute, sometimes 90-minute chunks, where pure focus. And then, after 60 or 90 minutes, he talks about, look, go to the gym, get some breakfast, take a shower, work out, change up the pace a little bit, and then go back and do another 60 or 90-minute session. Okay, another concept he talked about is that the weeds just grow automatically. So if you're not constantly immersing yourself in books, masterminds, having positive influences around you, you're going to start to kind of go downhill a little bit, whether it's your career or maybe even personal life. But you should try to just surround, proactively, even if you don't feel like you need it, just proactively seek out, mentors, masterminds, books, seminars, as much as you can, because the weeds grow automatically. It's not like once you go to one seminar or read one book or have one positive influence that they just go away. You need to just be constantly immersing yourself in this type of culture, the success culture, this motivated culture, and you'll get into that state of mind, and it'll help keep you up to the standards of the business world. All right, one of the biggest concepts he talked about, I should have probably made this one of the first concepts, but he talks about the difference between people that earn $250,000. This was referring to salespeople. But it could be applied to salespeople, business people, anyone. The biggest difference between those that earn $250,000 or more and those that earn less was speed of implementation. So the people that take an idea and just implement it as soon as possible. He made it a point. It doesn't always have to be perfect. A lot of times it's just progress over perfection. So it's not necessarily the person that implemented it had the best, let's say for YouTube videos. Maybe they didn't have the best camera, or maybe they didn't have the best topics of videos. However, the person that probably thought of doing a YouTube channel and then implemented 100 videos, they're probably going to have more success and probably learn more than the person that just does, a couple of videos here or there and is not really into it. And this can be applied to any type of marketing, business, networking. Apply it to anything. Speed of implementation is key. You want to take an idea and apply it ASAP. And that was actually the 10th thing that I learned, but we have one bonus tip for today, and that was test prices. So if you have different products and services, you should constantly be testing your prices. For example, he had a $20 product, and it was selling pretty well, and he decided to sell it at $40, and it sold significantly more. So not only did he sell more units, but he sold more units at a higher price. And it's not always the case. It's not always like, look, you double your price, and all of a sudden people are going to come. However, you should, maybe quarterly, just try to change your prices up and see if there's a major difference, because you never know. I know plenty of information marketers that have doubled the prices of their products and services, and have sold more as a result of that. So you're literally just probably missing out on a very easy, simple fix by not at least trying to increase your price by a significant amount, or maybe even decrease it for that matter. I would probably personally recommend increasing it and seeing where that takes you, but try both. Okay, so there you have it. 10 things I learned from Eben Pagan's Get Altitude program. You should definitely check it out on his website. It was a very interesting, very in-depth program with a lot of very successful people. And those were the 10 concepts I wrote down. Hopefully you enjoyed them. Please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you on the next one. All right, bye.